This week, we're back on the lot with Majestic Midways to see how this becomes this. This is the 28-foot carousel from Chance. The center sits on a dolly and rides on a rear deck, and all the various bits and pieces are racked in the trailer. I've been told that Chance intentionally misspelled Carousel to avoid trademark infringement on one of the other ride manufacturers. If you know the exact details of this situation, let us know down in the comment section below. Here they're releasing the jacks and various straps used to secure it to the deck. After pulling these channel irons, a winch is used to roll the center off the deck.
Well, it'd be on YouTube.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he comes out and he films.
Here we get our first look at what's hiding in the trailer. These are custom racks for all the pieces. The racking is organized so you start at the rear of the trailer and keep working deeper until you eventually get to the horses. The leveling jacks are run back down to give the center a solid base. This scaffold deck or walkboard is pulled out and attached to the center. The lead lines are pulled out and run to the generator. Then the connections are made at the electrical panel. At this point, they can start installing the sweeps. There's a pin on the end of the sweep that indexes into a hole in the center shaft. If you look closely, there's quite a bit going on with these. The entire carousel hangs from these sweeps, so there are a lot of different attachment points built into them. There's also an electrical circuit running through them for the carousel illumination. Then guy rods are installed to support the sweep and transfer the load to the center. Each sweep gets 2 guy rods. The generator isn't up and running yet, so they're just manually turning the ride to install these parts.
That way. Oh, okay. Good. No more.
Yep, I'm out of reach.
That's fine.
The crown needs to be tilted up and out of its travel position so the guy rod installation can continue.
Put it almost. Oh yeah, it's on the ground by the way. Not much. Not much. A little bit. It was indoors though. Oh, okay. Now Hershey just does her own.
Next, these spreader bars are installed. They slip over pins on the sweeps and are clipped in place. As their name implies, they spread the sweeps, but they also carry the bearings that will support the crankshafts that make the horses go up and down. The crankshafts are then pinned to the gearboxes.
Oh, too much. Come back a little.
Can you come out, Robbie?
Nope, right there, I think.
Okay.
That side over there.
Okay, now I'm on.
Archie.
Yes. We don't have power yet, do we?
Come on.
They're still manually pushing this around, but unless I'm mistaken, I believe that jackhammer sound is the grounding rods being driven into the ground, so it shouldn't be much longer until they have power.
Okay, RP. Come on in. Yes. What are you looking for? You don't have the big one. No, I'm not looking for.
And you can see they're working their way deeper into the trailer.
Found a whole thing of snap rings.
Yep. They're not on the shelf anymore. Yeah. But you can in there and see how the parts
One more to go.
Now the ceiling scenery is installed. These panels slide into tracks on the sweeps and are clipped into place. They also have electric now, so they can jog the ride from the control panel.
I'm in.
Okay, I'm in. Maybe cover it.
Been a while since we've seen this, ain't it?
It's the first time I've ever seen it.
What they're talking about here is that they usually skip these panels to save time during week-to-week setups. The last time these ceiling panels were installed was 5 years ago. This carousel is getting set up for a 1-month run at a holiday event, so it's worth installing all the fancy scenery.
That one went through.
You can probably imagine how difficult it can be to keep all these lights working. From the panels being banged around and road vibrations, just keeping all the bulbs lit is a job in and of itself. So by skipping these panels, it saves time. Next up are these hangers that are pinned to the end of the sweeps. They hold the rounding boards and shields.
Put it into the quarters.
Now it's time to reposition things a bit. The ramps are pulled up, the walkboard is repositioned, and the trailer's moved a few feet forward. A bunch of electrical connections need to be made, so the wiring is thrown up top so it'll be there waiting for them when they need it. The roof canvas is made in 2 halves, and that's thrown up on the top as well.
It's gonna have to be rebuilt.
Once you get it over, you need 1 or 2. Yeah. Right there.
The rounding boards are hauled out and hung on the previously installed brackets. Then these shields cover the joints between the rounding boards.
Straight down, straight down.
These are the racks that hold the rounding boards. We're getting into the middle of the trailer now. I love seeing how rides are racked and take ideas to improve our own restoration projects. The way you systematically work through the trailer from back to front is a good lesson here. Now they can start hooking up the electrical. The sweeps are plugged into the center, and then the scenery and rounding boards are plugged into outlets at the other end of the sweeps.
Why can't I?
This side is heavy.
Call somebody.
With the top complete, the center tower is raised up to its final height. Then these mounting bars are slipped in place and the tower is lowered down onto them. This is all bolted together.
It's important to see how it's starting with these.
Yeah.
Well, all the way down, and then they did just a little.
Outriggers are installed and turnbuckles are used to tie it all together.
A lot of the stuff out when we done up out at the shop.
Live gas.
Next, these floor hanger rods are hung from the sweeps.
Oh, so they face each other. As long as it's not on the ground, we don't want it to be snow.
Yeah, right.
Well, you don't know, so. This one's a little high. This one, Robbie. You're one of the ones up
And then floor braces are hung from the rods. Some additional braces are installed here that will hold the center scenery. Now the platform pieces are pulled out from under the trailer and are installed. Once all the floor pieces are in place, nuts on the hanger rods are run down to ensure the panels stay in place. And yet, more scenery gets hung up here.
Yeah, and down. Good. There we not down to get hurt. Going up with a I'll take you home.
These diagonals going in are sway rods. They ensure that the deck stays concentric around the center and prevent it from swaying. These columns cover the joints between the scenery panels, but they also pin everything together.
There you go. That's the top. Now to the bottom. Right there. Right there. Perfect. You the man.
Top in. Rudy, are you good?
No, that's good. You did a fantastic job. Put yours in. Where's the one at? Yep.
Over there.
These final pieces of scenery attach to those brackets installed earlier and cover the center, creating the finished looking base of the ride.
We're going to hook this side and hook that
Yeah, since they all have two of them, it doesn't matter that there's one handle. Yeah, I know. I don't think you. That's on. Yeah, it's
Frank, come down.
yeah.
Now the hanging of the horses and other animals can begin. The horse poles are brought out and hooked to the crankshafts. The hooks on these are made in such a way that the poles have to be tilted to install or remove. The horses are slid on the poles, then a step or stirrup piece is slid on, and a pin goes through it.
It does look ugly, yeah. You have to think about this. A pole that goes through too. You'll never see that. There you go.
Fine, and then let's get all the horses out and laid around, empty the trailer, and then I can move them.
Okay, here we start to diverge from a typical setup. They had a hard out scheduled where they needed to get the truck off the lot so that some heavy equipment could come in and remove panels that were being used to protect the ground. So they started unloading the entire trailer onto the ground so that they could get the truck out. You can see that this carousel contains an entire menagerie of different animals and one chariot.
It's not normally how this is done.
Yeah, I know.
While one part of the crew is hanging horses, the other part of the crew can lace up the two halves of the canvas. You can see how the canvas hooks on the rounding boards. Bonus points if you can tell me what's wrong with this picture.
Some of them are on you. Oh yeah, get the here. There's one that was painted red.
And here is the lead horse going on.
Let's turn and ride.
That was good timing.
Because the poles must be tilted to hang, the ride must occasionally be rotated to get the crank arm into the down position.
don't do the story.
I can't see it.
Up, all the way.
Twist the horse a little bit.
Come down a little bit. There we go. Good. Good.
These pedestals slip onto the horse rods, and they snap into the floor and keep the horse from swinging around.
And you were sitting there talking about how you pulled it from one side and pulled it to the other, and I said, but it's upside down. Yeah. Right there in the hole.
Lots of little finishing details now, installing the chariot seat, and the fences and the gate.
Okay, that one's right there. That one over there. Something now, and the wrong one. This is right above.
He's scared of it. Rob. I don't know why. Oh, there we go.
And under the canvas, rods are installed to support the canvas. These rods slip into tubes that are part of the sweeps. The top of the canvas is tightened by raising this screw jack.
How you doing? How you do that? That was good.
Steve for 2 minutes, almost the whole last end of the season. That's not too bad.
No, it's auto.
Oh, really?
That pretty much finishes the job. If you enjoy seeing how these rides are set up, or you want to follow along with our ride restorations, click that link to the left and come along for the ride. And if you'd like to help out, consider joining us on Patreon.